right, and we're here. What's going on, everybody? It's your least favorite duelist. I'm back. Ugh. Long hiatus of making content. It's probably been about a month or two since my last video. I want to say I did like Buster Blader or something. I have no idea. But anyways, you know what? Let's go hatless today. Let me see how the hair... Nah, we're going to leave the hat on today. I cut my own hair, and I'm not too happy about it. I could have went to a barber, but I mean the barber shops nowadays are charging like an extra $10 for COVID, so I decided to take a crack at it. I got to work on the top for sure, but anyways, welcome. We're going to be discussing some Banlist predictions post KC Cup today, and let's just get right into it. I'll probably go and give a brief overview of just some of my thoughts and opinions on stuff. Let me pull up these sleeves here so we could get to work. And here we go. So as you can see here at the top, Blue Eyes Alternative is in my ban list prediction, which is gonna make sense a little bit later. But I'll just hop into the old duel links here. I actually am probably gonna cut the Dragon Spear to white after thinking about it, potentially. Maybe we'll leave it in there for now. So this ban list is intended overall, in my opinion, just to kind of help out some of the Xyz decks. I know that Automat is doing pretty well. I know the Water deck is doing pretty well. But what about the digital bugs? What about the stick chair? What about what are these things called again? Teller Knights. Not just the Sot Teller, but Constellar Knights, we can't just have just Noble Knight floating around. I just think it's not fun. We did get a lot of really cool decks from Infinity Ray. Heretics aren't really doing too much either, We got freaking Rescue Rabbit in the game, and we're not really doing too much. So this ban list, like I said, is intended to hopefully lower the power level of the decks that are out right now to bring in the new wave of the Xyz era. But I'm also very biased, so I'm going to add Karakuri here to this list and explain that because I'm looking at my notes right now. So we're going to be talking about you and you. All right. So let's see. We're going to start off just very simple. We're going to go and talk about probably the biggest offender that everyone wants just to see hit, period, is going to be the good old Karma Cut. So Karma Cut, if we go here, we'll go to the fancy part of the stage here. So Karma Cut, it's been in the game for a little while, and everyone hates this card. You hate the draw step where they Karma Cut your guy, and it's painful. It's non-destruction removal. Most decks outside of some of the top tier decks cannot really deal with this. Essentially the only deck that doesn't care about Karma Cut is Thunder Dragon. Thunder Dragon, you're just kind of helping them out at the end of the day. But yeah, Karma Cut I have at semi-limit, and that's going to be the base hinge of the entire ban list that I have put together here. And yeah, so Karma Cut is at 2. All right, we'll go to the next kind of offender just on my own personal list. Honestly, these are all just opinions here. So, take it as you will. So next up is going to be, we're going to discuss Blue Eyes for a minute or two. Give me 1 second because I got to pull up something real fast here. Because I forgot to put it on here. I'm doing this off the seat of my pants. There we go. Okay, so let's talk about Blue Eyes Alternative. It's a free one of that you get from logging in. It's your annual reward. And I don't expect them to release any more of these, most likely. I would hope not. I would really hope not. But that being said, just because of the way I kind of structured this ban list, I'm going to put Alternative at 1. And the reason being is after some of the other hits you're going to see on here, I would hate to see Blue Eyes also run Champions Vigilance, which is also at 1. So that's just kind of like shoring up the edges after the dust is settled with this Banlist prediction. So alternative at 1, just so you can't run Champions Vigilance. So there you go. The next one that I have on here, as far as Blue Eyes is related, I have like 2 different ones. So I have Sage on here, and I have Dragon Spirit of White. So Sage I have at 3, just cause why not? It's kind of like tied together with all the other cards that are in this archetype, where it's like a +1 when you normal summon. So stuff like Stratos, Karakuri Merchant. What else is off the top of my head that I can't remember? I guess like Thunder Dragon Dark as well. You can put Thunder Dragon Dark in there. Madrot. Just a bunch of different cards. So like Searchers, I kind of feel like need to be just toned back a bit, or like hit in some kind of way. So that's why I have Sage at 3. And then the last hit for Blue Eyes, I have Dragon Spirit of White at 2, just to tie together with Karma Cut. Now that does mean that Raigeki Break might be a little bit more prevalent, but I think people are more mad at Karma Cut than Raigeki Break. Plus Raigeki Break is an ultra rare, so we got to be careful when we touch those. So there you go. So just a little overview real quick of the Blue Eyes. 1, 2, and a 3. All right. So on to the next deck. Everyone's other favorite deck we're going to be discussing real quick is the Desperado Barrel Dragon. The good old Barrel Dragon here. Ever since, I want to say, when Invoke Cocytus went to the ban list pile and got permabanned just at 0. He got put at 0. Desperado Barrel Dragon has been running rampant on ladder, KC Cup, all the tournaments, and it's not a really fun deck. I mean, it is a fun deck, but I think part of the reason why this deck isn't that fun to play against is maybe the skill, which we'll be discussing as well. But I think that it's time for this deck to go bye-bye. One of the other really obnoxious things with this deck as well is that usually this deck is very good at just like teching random garbage. Because if most people, when like what's been going on lately with Desperado, is they'll see like a meta shift, and then you go into like the search list and you'll be like, all right, let me search up Dark Machine and let me see what I get. So that's why you're seeing Allied Justice Quarantine. You're seeing other garbage like, well, let me look up Dark Machine real quick because it's like insane how this is happening. So Dark Machine is like pretty insane. So let me go to Dark Machine here. What do we got here? So we got stuff like Black Salvo, which I think is pretty annoying. I have seen some people running like Cyber Dark Edge in some of their Desperado builds. But definitely like Quarantine is like running rampant now, which is like shutting off like half of the decks that are relevant. What else do we have here? Yeah, I mean, you just go and like search a Dark Machine and you just like look for a bunch of crap to play that's like anti-meta. So this essentially is like the ultimate anti-meta deck. But yeah. So essentially I just want Barrel Dragon for right now. I have him at I was gonna say 2, but because we're gonna also hit the skill, I think maybe just limiting him to 3 might be fine. There's gonna be a lot of limit 3s on here just because I mean, I feel like it's like the starting ground for the ban list, just to like dip your toe in the water as far as like when you need to change a deck. Desperado Barrel Dragon is pretty key in the strategy period, so maybe like going like hitting it to 2 and like having you decide between this and Karma Cut might not be very fun. So 3 on that guy. The other hit that I have for Barrel Dragon, this card isn't really run in Barrel Dragon or just in Barrel Dragon, but it's run in It is running Barrel Dragon. I have Head Judging here. Banned. I think now the reason being is for one that this card is not in a box. It's an ultra rare though, but it's not in a box. It's something you can farm. One of the reasons I don't like this card in particular is I feel like this card is more of a Hearthstone card than a Yu-Gi-Oh card, just because this one is very sacky in its randomness. So if you get the call on your coin flip wrong, you know, essentially you might lose the game. And then if you get it right, like, you probably win the game. So I think because this card can like set the outcome of the game based off of a coin flip, I don't think it's healthy for the game. And the fact that you can run 3 of it just like rampantly is disgusting. And I don't think even putting it at 1 would be healthy either, because you would just be upset when you see it, even if it's at 1. So I think it just needs to be cut altogether. And then the same thing needs to be said for Cup of Ace. This card is essentially a pot of greed in the Desperado build. And I just don't think it's healthy for the game just to have a free pot of greed like that. Although, like, you know, you do have to rely on your coin flips. But, I mean, there's times when you kind of run the Desperado Barrel Dragon out of Steam, and then they top deck the Cup of Ace and the Cup of Ace, and then they refill up their board and set a Super Team Buddy Forest, and it's just like, I don't know. It doesn't feel good. It's not a good feel. All right. And then the very last hit I have for Desperado, besides the skill, which we'll discuss skills last, is Misjudge. I just have her at 2. Most people run them at 1, but I want it to be tied together with Karma Cut. So that way you have to choose between the old Karma Cut or the old Negate. Now, for what it's worth though, Misjudge isn't like super impressive, but it does kind of force you to play a certain way where, because this is like an instant, like this Negate happens like on the first card you play, so you can play around it. But I don't know, like I feel like you need to give the Xyz decks a little bit of a chance, because some of them rely on monster effects to special summon out other monsters, and then getting negated by Misjudge doesn't feel good. So, I mean, I don't really have a big hate for Desperado. I have more of a hate for the skill itself and head judging, but that's just how I'm looking out for the little decks like digital bugs and stuff. All right. So that's Desperado. So we have a 3, a 2, and a none on those. All right. The other quick one here is going to just be, this isn't really a Ritual Beast directed hit, but I think Winda just needs to go to 3 right now. There's a lot of just decks that play really slow, tied together with like Boxer Veil. A lot of decks that are kind of like lacking on like the defense area. They just play, you play 3 Winda, 3 Boxer Veil, and you call it a day, you know. I really like Winda and Buster Blader, and like I would be sad to see it get hit at 3, even though it would do nothing to my deck. But I think Winda just needs to get a target on its back and be like, hey, like, we're watching you. Because a lot of decks, I'm telling you, that lack that defensive capability and that need to stall a little bit to get their engine going, they use Winda, because one, it floats from itself into itself, and then it floats from itself into a giant Pengu. So like, you know, it's pretty frustrating. And that being said, like, I do play Buster Blader with this card, and I know, because I stall all the time until I get DNA surgery up, and then I win the game. So there you go. So that's it. That's just a real quick hit to Winda. The next one is going to be, here's another one-off one, is going to be Raiden, Hand of the Lightsworn. So he's run mostly in Thunder Dragon. He's not really running, I mean, he's run in a lot of decks to where, like, you want a bunch of crap in the graveyard. So you use him, use Raiden. Oops. I meant to hit related cards. Use Raiden, you add in Charge of Light Brigade, you get a bunch of milling and drawing going, and On top of that, you got a level 4 tuner to make things. So I have rating at 3. Just because we're gonna take a little touch at Thunder Dragon as well. So rating is at 3. And speaking of Thunder Dragon, Dark is at 3 also. Although the Thunder Dragon deck does have the ability to brick, and rating kind of like unbricks the hand in some ways. I think Thunder Dragon should play mostly Thunder Dragons. You already have Lupine, you have Gold Sark. Maybe running 2 Dark, 1 Raiden might be a thing, you know. But I think there are a lot of hands with Thunder Dragon where they can just do like these. They just break the shit out of your board. Doesn't matter what you do, how you build it. So I do like that about Thunder Dragon, but just to kind of like lower the consistency a little bit. I didn't want to hit Lupine quite yet. Gold Sark is already at 2. So I think just a nice little hit would be to put Thunder Dragon Dark at 3 and Raiden at 3. Just because, like I said earlier, with like something like Sage, it's kind of like a +1 searcher in a way. So we do want to keep an eye on those, because Thunder Dragon Dark does search all the Thunder Dragon cards in your deck. And just having it at 2, it used to be at 2 a long time ago. It used to be semi-limit 2, which really hurt because you had to run it with just like 1 Gold Sark or 1 Charge of Light Brigade. But I think just toning it back to 2 with some of your other cards should be okay. They'll be in a good spot. And then maybe they'll just play regular Thunder Dragon on top of that. So there's that. And then we're going to go on to the old, let's see, Cyber Dragon. So I have Cyber Dragon here. I have Core at 2. Same thing. Searchers need to be looked at. You know, the Stratoses, and I wouldn't be surprised if down the road, like Elemental Hero Stratos gets hit at some point, if heroes become like way out of control, which they probably won't. But Cyber Dragon Core needs to be semi-limited over Overflow. Right now, Overflow is at 2. And so essentially what I have for Cyber Dragons is Core at 2, Overflow at 3. One of the things that kind of bothers me about the Cyber Dragon deck is that this deck plays like 4 monsters. You play like 3 Core, you play 1 Cyber Dragon, and the rest is just like spells and traps, because you'll play like the Cyberload Fusion, and then you'll play the Fusion support, and then the rest is like Cosmic Cyclones, Fusion Gates. Some people are running Evolution Burst. You know, you got your double Overflow. But I think Cyber Dragon should actually play Cyber Dragon monsters a little bit more. That's just me. I know, like, I don't want to touch the skill either. I feel like touching the skills kind of like, it's kind of a little bit hard to do that, because like if you do too much to hit the skill, then like the deck is just dead because it relies heavily on it. But if you let it just do whatever, then like the skill like looks hella broken. And right now it's looking like more on the broken side right now, just because they're getting away with running like 4 monsters. So hopefully, like, by limiting Core to 2, we can say, hey, like, actually run some of your archetype, man. You know, like, don't just run these spells. I mean, it's a little niche thing. And the fact that, like I said, this is Searcher, so gotta limit the consistency a little bit. Just so, like, you know, I would say Cyber Dragon's almost in that same vein of, like, old Dark Magician, where, like, you would see it, and you're going second, and you're just like, well, nothing I can do here, you know? So we're just toning that back a little bit. Okay. So we touched that. All right. The last one that I have on the hit list was probably an obvious one, is Noble Knights. Now, I've discussed this with my clan, the Outlaws. Okay. So I've discussed this with my clan, the Outlaws. And, I mean, they don't agree with this, but I think Merlin should get hit the 2 over something like Madrat. A lot of them were saying Madrat should be touched, but the thing is, it's an ultra rare, so I don't know. Even though I know it's in a structure deck and an old box now, but Merlin is like God tier right now, because if you go first you have Merlin equip and like maybe one trap, like that's it. Like the game's over. You know, it's like Dark Magician, you know? It's another one of those Dark Magician nightmares where you see this on turn one, like you would see like Dark Magician's rod, and you would see them rod for like navigation. You're like, oh, they have the circle. Great. So Merlin, I think, should be semi-limited because right now, like, I mean, a lot of these hits that I'm talking about like hurt the decks that I play, but I feel like it's unnecessary kind of evil. So Merlin needs to be at 2, just because it makes your Noble Knight monsters float. It activates like your little combo that you can do on your opponent's turn, where you can XCs, pull out a Driston, and pop their card on top of like re-equipping and all this stuff and getting around things. So yeah, and then this guy can pull any Noble Knight out of the deck. I didn't want to hit the trap either. I think the trap is like the trap has a little bit lower of a ceiling than Merlin in some regards, I guess, just because the trap can't pull anything out of the deck. The trap can only pull like the names you don't use. So the other suggestion that my clan had was Boris the 2 or Madrat, but I'm gonna say fuck them, hit the Merlin, you know. I'm trying not to cuss, but yeah, so that's what I have. Merlin at 2. So if we want to go back, so that's all I have for hits. The rest could be like a little bit of changes, which is just like very specific, and it's Car Curry related because I don't know. I feel like Car Curry didn't deserve to die that fast. So we'll just kind of go and reiterate real fast. So we have semi-limit 1, 2, 3. We have a 2 here. We have a ban here. We got a 3 here, a 3 here, a 3 here, 2 here. We have a number 3 here, a 2 here. I'm just going out of order because I'm just going based off the way that Yu-Gi-Oh kind of has this set up in the game. We have a 3 here. We already talked about you. This is a 2. And then like this might be a 2. I don't know. I can see both, or even like all. I could honestly see if they, depending on how much they hate Noble Knights and how cheap it is, I could see them like semi-limiting both of these to 2 or putting them both at 3. I could see that too. So that's it for bans. Now for kind of like some changes, because I was like going through and like looking at some of the cards, and let me change the screen a bit. So one of the things that I saw, if I go to like semi-limited monsters here, let's clear this out. So let's bring up all the semi-limited stuff right now. One of the cards that I was like maybe curious about bringing back, but I don't know about the repercussions of this, would be Rose Lover. So I've seen some Sylvan decks that have Rose Lover, and like I'm kind of scared to pull this off the ban list, but maybe it might be a thing. I don't know. Right now it's at 2, but like maybe putting it at 3 for now might be okay. I'm not sure. The next one I have on unbanned is Kokaimeru Maximus. What this card does, other cards do better right now. I mean, it is a big old, it's like a little bit better than Blue Eyes alternative in the fact that like it can blow up a card and then and still attack. And I think it doesn't target, because it says once per turn during your main phase you can select and destroy it. I want to say that doesn't target. I think. Doesn't say, it doesn't have the word target, but you never know with the verbiage on here. So I have that one. I have Kokaimeru Maximus just getting unbanned. I just don't see, like, the card's slow. There's a lot of removal. Even if Karma Cut does get semi-limited, you know, I just don't see it. You know, there's so many other decks that do way more on both people's turns. So I wanted to like do like a Crystron change, but I mean, I don't think anyone likes playing against Crystron. So Citri and Scrap Recycler and Gen X Controller and Rihan might have to all sit in the semi-limit list for a little bit while longer. Hopefully the game power creeps enough to where we can start pulling these off. That's the dream right there. All right, so let's go over to the spells. Sorry if the screen looks weird. We're going to go over. Here we go. Let's pull something up. I kind of want to see Starblast get taken off, to be honest. They already hit some of the skills that this was abusing already. And I think it was a cool card because there was like some potential with Monarchs with this. And I didn't get the chance to use it. So I don't think there's any like real degenerate skills that can abuse this right now. So that could probably get taken off. They went way overboard on Starblast by like hitting this to 1 and hitting the skills. So maybe to 2. That way I can try it with Monarchs. That's the dream. Looking at these other spells here. I mean, everything else probably can stay on here. Yeah, I mean, some of these spell cards, so like something like this, I have no idea. I'm pretty sure there was like some weird like FTK with like this one burning you for a lot of damage. This card has been semi-limit 3 for a really long time. I don't know why this card was limited in the first place. Maybe I could get some insight on that, but I think this could get taken off. It's at semi-limit 3. And then for the finale, I have, well, this isn't like getting taken off the ban list, but this is just some changes to the ban list. Let's put Nanishi at 3, Merchant at 2 with the old Gamma Oil. You know, let's get Karkuri back in the game. I know people hated those first turn boards, but are they really that much worse than Noble Knight? Maybe. Because I mean, we did have like the monster and trap negate, and then but our monsters didn't do anything. Like they would just turn your guys sideways. So I don't know. I think Karkuri, it's time for Karkuri to just they need to loosen up the old ban list a little bit on it, because like they died too soon, you know. And I was really invested. I got 3 Kunamazam Shazam. I got 3 Shazams like really quick, and I can't even really play this deck right now. I mean, I could, but like I'm not gonna win that often. I probably will still win. Actually, I'm gonna do KC Cup with this right now. But that's gonna be it for the ban list. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I don't care if you disagree or agree. That's fine. You know, we all have our own opinions, but just know that this was all in respects to having the extra decks, or having the new what the heck is going on here? Okay, sorry. This is in respects to having some of the new XC decks come out and have a chance, a little bit more of a chance. Some of them are already like performing well, like I said, but I want to see the digital bugs coming out of the woodwork and put in some actual work. I'll see you guys on the next video. Until then, deuces.
Here